Well, good morning. Good morning. Happy Monday. Welcome to the 11 a.m. Let's see if I can get this right. Monday morning marketing webinar. Thanks much for joining me this morning. We're going to be discussing how to make better corporate videos. Please. We have seen way too many that are just awful and terrible over the years. So our goal this morning is to walk away with a couple of good action steps so that whether you're just an office manager or marketing, let's say a social media person, marketing manager, whatever the case may be, that you're going to walk away with a couple of tips here that are going to help you. From an executive level, the goal would be to actually share with you some of those things that typically we see the executive team asking to be integrated into videos and things like that are just horrible and awful and evil and should never, ever see the light of day. So there's two target markets in this as well. So anyway, let's start out with equipment real quick. And this is not meant to be a deep dive into equipment, but I am going to share with you, let me share with you my screen here. There's actually two things I want to share with you. The first one is this video right here. I'm going to bring it over. And I'm going to share this out. Otherwise, you aren't going to see anything in terms of a screen. So let me go ahead and let's do screen one. So you can see this. That's fine. And now I'm going to bring that over. I'm going to isolate myself a little bit here. All right, so here we go. Ready? So this is interesting. Yes. So watch this real quick here. All right. I don't know if you can hear it. A lot of DIY stuff going on here. Not real complicated, but just thoughtful integrations, right? Even some of the equipment, very simple, just an iPhone. The boom mic there in that case. This is again, just thinking about the creative perspective of how things are working together. This actually would have been really cool to actually shoot, by the way. But think about all of the integrations in that. Okay, how cool is that, right? So that is an example of what video technology is today in terms of the equipment. Now, you'll notice a couple things going on, which we will cover here in just a moment. Let me bring myself back. Let's see if I can do that properly for us. Do you really want to see that kind of view all the time? How about no? I'm going to turn my screen off on this one so it's just me again. Let me go ahead and share with you. Oh, you know what? I have a very good example, by the way, for us. I should just keep these going. You don't need to see me full screen. I'm not that important to look at. Okay. So am I popping back in here? No, probably not. There we go. I'm not sure if I am or not. On air. I don't think you need to see me anyway. That's interesting. So it goes full screen in that case. All right. Still learning this, by the way, just to let you know. All right. So we have, give you an idea as kind of a transition into this. We have a camera here. This is actually a video shoot we did a couple weeks back at a company called Dawning Family Services. And you'll see in this case here, the visual. Very good. We love the framing of this. I just love the little baby in this one. She's such a sweetheart.
They have definitely changed.
Okay, so that is shot with a normal DSLR camera, okay? And the reason I'm sharing that with you is because this is actually pretty good. I mean, the lighting is good.
And definitely given us.
Right? But if you actually go, I'm going to bring this back over here. Camera 3. I'm going to turn, look at this. So this, I probably should have figured out where that other, I shouldn't have moved that actually, or should I? This is shot literally from,
Would be honestly possible. I'm trying not to get emotional, but
and if the lighting was actually more lit from this
when I was
side,
pregnant with her,
right? Like you can actually see the lighting was shot best. Look at the colors in this. This is shot from an iPhone 12 Pro, not this one. This is the standard version, but the iPhone Pro 12. Look at the color and consistency. This is full resolution, by the way, on this one. Okay, so equipment is changing quite a bit. I'm going to say it's pretty darn close, especially if you're doing anything digital with video. So that's something to be said for the video quality production of it. And you can do 4K in this, right? Again, lighting and situations that you would have a hard time actually telling the difference between your iPhone, in this case, the latest version of the iPhone, and then that DSLR camera that we had going on just a few moments ago. So there's other things that you need to be considering as we talk about this. Let me go through and pull up the show notes again. But I just wanted to share with you, it's not really necessarily about equipment, it's about the story. So I am going to get a little techie on you. I'm going to put on my normal production shirt here. So let's see. Am I even on this anymore here? Do I have to shut this off? Huh. That is very frustrating. For some reason, I thought that was working like it. Allow. Good. I'm going to turn this on. Oh, there we go. Okay. So I'm actually going to put my production shirt on. Okay. Now, I'm going to geek out on you for just a little bit. If you know anything about videographer people, they tend to be very geeky on equipment. I am not a big geeky on equipment. However, I will wear this without my shirt on in many cases. One, I like the black because it doesn't reflect off of things. And I'll actually wear black pants, a lot of pockets, cargo pants and stuff like that, which is actually pretty good. Because again, you don't want lighting bouncing off of you, especially if you're moving around. But I'm going to go ahead and shut this off for just a second so you can see me. Now, equipment, right? I usually have two cameras running, okay? So I usually have my, let's see, this is my XA11, okay? Notice the big, actually the lens, right? You can actually see that lens size. That matters a lot, especially we had a comment about lighting, like filming in low lighting. The larger you can get that sucker, the more light comes into it, the better it is you're gonna be. There's other lenses you can buy for that stuff. What I do like about it does have the flip panel and things like that, which is almost large enough for me to see anything, but this will often run. And then I have the shotgun mic that usually goes on top, or I have a boom, which, by the way, some people, so you want to get these mics as close as you possibly can. This is the Sennheiser, MKE 600. Very good mic, but literally you need it to be just outside the frame set, right? So you can't see it on the screen. So it's really, really important. So I have a mount that I have like a mobile one where you can have somebody hold it. The problem is I can know if it's this close versus 6 feet away versus 8 feet away. So when you go ahead and do that, just be mindful of that audio changing around a little bit. So I'll usually have these two kind of working in tandem because it's got the, whatever you call that, I don't remember right now. I was told yesterday, but don't remember. Anyway, very, very good quality coming out of this. Check your settings. There's a couple of really good videos to kind of bump up the lighting a little bit and kind of fill in the gaps. But it's a good, solid camera for that. Zoom is fantastic with it. So that's that. The other setup that I typically use, and I run two mics, by the way, just in case, right? So I have just a regular Canon EOS, it's a Rebel T3, which shot the equivalent of that just a few moments ago. And the lens of this I like a lot because it blurs out the background. It's a 50 millimeter lens, but it gets the subject in there, but then it blurs out the back pretty solid. And you can do that with the video camera just by pushing where you want it to focus, right? And it blurs out that back. The key to that is making sure that the subject is far enough away from that back set of elements, right? That allow it to get that faded kind of look, that blurred out kind of look. But again, it's a Canon lens, 50 millimeter. usually mount it and things like that. And away we go with that. Let's see. Hopefully it doesn't fall. The one key to the audio, and although I like the shotgun mic, this little kit right here is really, really good. It's a wired mic set. I use it. It's the reason why I like wired. I know it's a pain in the butt, especially if you have people like multiple interviews going on, but I really, really like it. It says Boya. I don't see the model number on here, but it's if you can see it on here. Yeah, you can see it on there. It has a little battery that goes in that's powered, right? Because it just plugs in your normal. I use this on top of the DLSR camera, and I plug that sucker in there. And the audio of this thing is really, 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 really solid. So often, in fact, I can't think of a case thus far. I can't think of one case where I didn't use the audio from this. So always make sure your batteries function well, right? Other thing, lighting. So you want to be able to control the lighting. So this is a lighting kit. And it's just real simple, real thin, real easy to transport. But what I like about these guys is you'll see I'm actually changing the light from, let's see, we got full, there's different words for these, right? But this is like your white lighting, and it goes up. I think that's up as high as it goes, actually. No, it's not. That's as high as it goes. So it's pretty bright. And you can move this subject away. You guys can look up online where these things fit. But in terms of how you stack them up, in terms of where the lighting is. But what I do like, the fact does have a yellow as well. I don't know if you can see that. What's nice is it warms stuff up. So like even in this scene right here with the mom and her daughter. Oh, and by the way, this is the newer model NL480. In case you guys are doing like product stuff. And I have two of them, obviously, came in a kit, which is really good. But for this lighting, it started out being really sunny, so we didn't have an issue. But then as the day got older, day got dark, the day went on and it got darker outside. It's like 4 o'clock or so, and it was kind of cloudy, which is unusual for Florida. And this is a very well-lit room. She was actually looking a little too, she didn't have enough color. So basically, just by tweaking the yellow and the white, I ended up getting a nice mix on her face, right? So like in this case here, it looks really, really good. What other things? Oh, drone. You need if you need outdoor scenes, bringing people into a scene, bringing people out of the scene. These are great. Bring people closer or farther away from something is pretty cool. Even just using it for just general B-roll, which I'm going to show you a video in a little bit, just exactly what that means and how that looks. One other thing that's really saved me, and this is more of a recent acquisition. I was on a video, so the camera would go here, by the way, just to let you know. And it's a shoulder mount, right? So you can actually go ahead and kind of keep it real smooth. But this saved my can on a video shoot a couple weeks ago in Ohio, for a vascular center up there. And I'll show you some script notes that we usually have for a client. But literally, it became very apparent. I had everything outlined out in terms of the script shoot. And the doctor came in. Never met this doctor personally. Done several projects for them, but it's more for their marketing manager. But this time, the doctor was directly involved. And so I got there, was trying to structure the setup, get everyone organized and things. They have a staff of like 10 or 12 people. So we're going to do this a certain way. Had it all lined up, and you'll see some of that actually in the script shoot notes. But it was very obvious that the doctor had a different thing in mind. So we just had to go with it. So instead of changing out things over and over and over again, I basically slapped the Canon on here with the shotgun mic and literally we went through the stuff, right? It allowed me to capture the audio and even notes in terms of the things that he wanted to see as we're doing the stuff. It allowed me to just be really smooth, in terms of the video capture. But really a solid piece of technology with this. And I don't remember exactly what it's called. It looks like a newer kind of setup. I don't remember. But this has been my favorite. This has probably been my favorite recent acquisitions, by the way. And it does break down, by the way. All these things kind of come off, and it lays pretty flat in bags for travel and stuff like that. You can also disconnect it and have it, so that you can do low shots and stuff like that. But really, really solid with this on that platform to be able to handle stuff, to be able to move stuff. But again, the camera just mounts right on in there, which is great. Oh, the other thing too, I don't know if you can see, you can't really see it. I've got for travel, I've got this Pelican 1650 case. Comes with these great, the little pluck, the pull and plucks that you can kind of craft your bag with cameras and things like that. So basically everything kind of fits in there. Oh, one more thing too. Usually with that DLSR camera, I have an exterior video screen, okay? That really helps, especially with the DLSR camera, to make sure your focus is proper, where that screen is a little bit smaller than what you'd like it to be, especially if you start getting older like me. So again, none of this is really kind of absolutely critical in terms of laying out a perfect video, as you can just see from the focus, except for the one thing, which is that audio. So again, strong audio is really one of the keys. And again, from the video production side, just make sure it looks good. Okay, so I'm actually going to shift now into, I'm going to go from this standpoint. The only webcast online that has people stripping down. Okay, to the executive, this is what we often see at the company. Okay, so we should probably get rid of that because we're not interested in that anymore. And I'll close that up so you can't even see it. So the executive will often say, I want the product video and it's going to be 3 minutes and I want it to show every facet of how awesome our product or service is. And you go, yeah, no one cares. Okay. So we're walking this balance, right, between what we know people want, right, and what we need to execute. So often what I tell, we see this all the time. I know it sounds so simple, especially, and it's not meant to be insulting, I promise. You can't see that, can you? Because of the light. Oh, well. It's called benefits. We have to focus on the benefit. It is not meant to be insulting. I promise you, it is not meant to be insulting. But a lot of times what we do see is either very good intentioned salespeople saying, you know what, I really want a full product video that tells all the, how this thing is made and how strong it is and things like that. Those are all good things. And you might even be on the right path, especially if you're talking to your sales team about what people are asking for and what's important to them. So let's take the strength of something real quick, right? So something, I'm making this up, right? So if this, if the one feature is that this specific design, right, will allow for, let's say, 15,000 pounds, LVP, 15,000 pounds of weight to put on it. And it's like 50% of the weight of another competitive product, right? Well, what's the benefit? Improves gas mileage, injury avoidance, because it's stronger. You've got ease of use. Maybe I only need one thing as opposed to two things. So again, what we're trying to do is think about benefits to the customer. Those features are great, but features have purpose, and that purpose is the benefits. So in many cases, what we end up seeing is the benefits are often negated out of it. Assume people are not paying attention, right? You need to tell them exactly what the benefit is. Okay, so those benefits, and then show that product working with that benefit directly tied to it as a visual. A lot of times we'll see corporate videos is, let's say that feature is being highlighted. So maybe you have a screen rollover, right, with the text on it kind of featuring that to say it's 15,000 pounds, 50% the weight, or something of that nature. Look, show the thing working, right? Show it lifting that, right? That's really important because we're visually tying something together, okay? So a couple things going on. I haven't even started with the critical tips yet, guys, so I kind of have a little bit, maybe just a little bit. Okay, so critical tip number 1, think about the scene in advance and the story you'd like to tell, okay? So a couple of resources here for you guys. In fact, let's actually pull up a video. Can you guys see the screen? No, you can't. Not yet. Oh, there's too many little things going on here. There we go. I'm going to turn this on so you can see this again here. And you don't really need to worry about me, but I'm going to pull up 2 things. I'm going to pull up this, and I'm going to pull up. We have a client. I'll stop this. We have a client who we're redoing their website, reskinning it basically. And they really like this one website, this Zier Center website. And this is on their homepage. It's the video that plays in the background, right? So I did create kind of the little bit of the notes that I saw, and you can see those on the right-hand side here. But watch how this video progresses, right? It starts in, it tells the story a little bit, and then it leaves. So just watch a couple things as we go through this, okay? So again, we're starting out here outside a building, and notice how movement is occurring, right? Movement is entering the guest. The guest it's welcoming them into this scene, right? Now we see that welcome area is something that's directly going to connect. This is directly connecting with the brand. So when they walk in, they're recognizing this that they've seen online. Let's say they scheduled their first appointment with them. They've actually gone through and now they're seeing this, which is probably one of the critical main elements or featured elements in the actual office. Then we're going to talk about, how good they are, right? And you notice there's movement associated with all of these, right? Even if it's simple, just a little bit of a pan left to right kind of thing going on, right? I love to see how the blur back out here. The lighting is done really, really well on this one. Okay. This one I don't really care too much about, but we're talking about relationship with people, right? So you have the best doctors, a doctor with patient. We're saying that, there's consultation going on. Typically, I wouldn't like this scene. I do like how we do have the kind of the orthopedic, the knee thing going on, and he's talking about that. But I typically don't want my clients low. I want them on an equal level, and I want them smiling a little bit more in terms of the connection here with the patient. This shot here is a little bit dark for me, and it looks like I do like the feature on the equipment, but there's a better feature element in just a moment. They're showing that cleanliness is important. This is poorly lit and things like that, so I'm not sure, and it's not really that sexy of a spot anyway. But I mean, cleanliness is important. We get that. That's cool. But this is a great shot here. Look at how what this communicates here is this doctor is really, really not spending not shorting a dime when it comes to the technology, being up on stuff. I mean, it looks like he's got it looks like a hazmat outfit. Plus, he's got a light going on. The lighting is lit well in this case. Okay, really, really good. This shot right here is him prepping for something, obviously. And I don't think it's terrible. I think it's okay. I love this shot. Okay, and you're going to see, so we have extreme intensity on his face. I think the lighting could be a little bit better, but I like this shot here with the lighting, especially as the camera kind of pans, and then we actually see what he's looking at, supposedly. And I think that's so cool. It's beautiful. I'm not sure, and then you get into the shot here. It looks like he's preparing for Thanksgiving dinner at this point. These rubber gloves, I mean, it looks like he's going to change oil or something. I don't really care for that too much, but it looks like he's carving the turkey, actually, especially as he's yanking things. We don't like yanking things. Yanking things are not good. And I'll show you an example of why that is the case in just a moment. The lighting here is a little bit better, by the way, right there. So it may have been later on the day or earlier in the day, I don't know. That shot right here, again, we don't typically want to see a submissive kind of movement with a doctor or anybody, our client specifically. So that's something to be considering there, although it's not a terrible shot. And then we have the exit for the logo, right? So again, not too bad. And then it kind of wraps around. So again, we came into the scene, we saw these unique points that make us a little bit special, or at least a little bit of an insight into the organization. And then it kind of brings me back out. So as if I'm exiting in a soft way. Okay. Beautiful. Well done. Okay. So let's go to, I'm on to the, I should, well, you know what? We can do that. What do you like and what, do what you, okay. So I'll go through this comparison. Okay. So let me do this. So the first one we had was think about the scene in advance, right? So think about the scene in advance. The second thing I want is critical in this is, do you like what you've shot? So here's the deal. This is not like we need to take this back to, get cut later on. Like you can actually see it right in the screens or the bigger screen, right? You can actually review the footage you got. Now, often I will say, I like what I've seen. I like that shot. I like the lighting. I can see that while I'm actually filming. And if I don't like it, I can change it, right? That's really, really, really important. So be mindful of that, okay? Do you like what you shot? And in many cases too, visually, that's one experience. But even auditorily, right? If they're saying something, you're always trying to make it shorter than what it is. Make it impactful. Right. So in many cases, we'll interview physicians or clients. We have a lot of physician clients. We'll interview them and they go on, 2 to 3 minute kind of spiel. Right. And we let them talk because a lot of times there's gold in there. It's just your job as the producer or director to go ahead and actually spot those. So in many cases, they'll say something. And I'm like, that hits one of our unique bullet points, that value proposition. Right. So what I'll end up doing is say, doctor, I need you to look into this camera. I need you to say, boom, 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 and exactly word for word. And then usually once or twice, we'll have to do it 2 or 3 times, usually. Okay. And the reason why is because I want the cadence to be impactful. I want the sincerity to be there. I want the focus to be done. I want the focus to be done. I want you to pause. I want you to have that right cadence. I want to make sure that little snippet is right. And the reason why is in many cases, here's a little bonus thing beyond just the 3 that I've got. We're on 2 right now. The bonus thing would be the hook, right? I can use that at the very beginning of a typical video in order to be the hook, right? So if they say something, we are amazingly different because of this. And I'm using that as an example. Usually this surgical approach is unmatched. Like that kind of thing. It's very like, okay, I'm getting it. Like I want to know about that. That's the hook, right? They call it the curiosity gap. You're going to tell me then about that, right? So it's very, very important. The third critical one is 8-second rule. Okay, and we're going to show you a video here in just a moment of a video that's done really right. It tells a 3-minute long story of an investment advisor, but it tells it in a way that is, well, it's theatrical, actually, in terms of its execution. So it really makes it exceedingly interesting, okay? So ride along with me for that. So going back to this example, the doctor, our client wants this approach, but he sent over some video, right? So I'm going to share with you the videos that he sent over. We're going to kind of walk through that a little bit. So again, the video that we just saw with the officer is coming in, talking to the patient and all that. We got these videos right here. Okay, I'm going to turn this down a little bit. Notice something here. This is the doctor just filming script. Well, maybe not be the doctor. It might be somebody in staff, but there's no script notes. There's no logical flow to this. It's just kind of spotty stuff. Okay, so we have to do something interesting with it. Okay, so everyone is doing paperwork. There's no patient care going on. There's paperwork. Okay. I pretty much wrote that off. Like I can't really use any of that. Okay. Here's one here where it looks like we're going to stalk somebody coming down the hallway. And this is the difference between a professional shoot or not. Do you guys notice the garbage, what appears to be garbage on the left-hand side? But again, even just how this is filmed, it looks like we're going to stalk this poor patient who's sitting in this bed. Like it adds no value. We don't want to show patients we don't want to show our product or even the result of the product being poor. We don't know if this person is alive or dead. We assume they're alive because they're rolling them back in and it doesn't say coroner on the back of their shirt. But there's no value associated with what we've just seen, right? There's no value. This is not something I want to choose to be in or a part of at this point. So again, we need to think about these kind of things. Here. Now, I love, by the way, just to let you know, this doctor, this physician, he is the best physician in Naples, like seriously awesome. He does laparoscopic surgery exceedingly well. Okay, he's their lead surgeon there, which is awesome. Trained, he's brilliant. But he's not brilliant at video. And again, without the process and the plan, things like this happen. So he's coming in. Look at how he struggles to come in the door. Okay, he's sopping wet. I can just see things dripping. Like, this is not attractive to me. Okay, now he's very far away. And if anybody sees the discolored paint on the wall, maybe they're prepping for something. I don't know. It looks like they're very organized out here, but I can't tell because it's so far away. Again, is there anything here that's kind of, oh, wow, that really gets me. I really like it. If I got a little closer, if I really need to use the footage, maybe I could get a little closer to her and his hand when she puts this out. Because I do like the fact that that table is prepped. I do see that there, which is really great, but it's so far away. I'm not going to be able to get it probably the way I want. This is the one we ended up using. Now here, you'll notice this. He's breathing. I think he's talking. No, he's not. He's just breathing. That looks weird. Okay, it looks like the gills of a fish of some kind of going. And again. Good shot here. The coloring is good. I like the contrast between the blues and the reds and things like that. I really like the color of these cool tubes and stuff like that, right? But he does some funky things with his hand going. Look, did you see that? Watch this. So watch this area here in just a second. He's got it. He pushes that in, but then watch how he tries to get it out. It's sticking. Oh, that looked like it hurt. Like, we don't want that. Like, it ruined a perfectly good scene, to be honest with you. Yeah, we don't want that jabbing or even reverse jabbing in, like, where it looks like it. Ow. The patient, I'm sure, is probably unconscious, but I don't care. It looks painful. So it looks like something could be ripped. Here, I like the fact that we have this finished part of the surgery here. And I guess we could have used that. But there wasn't enough of it that I kind of liked. All right. And then this one here, this is the last one. The lighting is different. You'll notice real quick here, because this is shot, and this goes back to frame rate, you guys, or at least being mindful. You'll see how fast this moves. So like how fast the frames go by. It's blurry. Even if I just let it sit, it's blurry. So like weird drones is the same thing. If you're going to film an interview, 24 frames per second, 30 frames per second is okay. If you're going to do anything high speed where you're moving, let's say skateboarding stuff, if you're doing a product feature or something of that nature, you go with the 60 frames per second and capture that video footage the way it is, okay? I've got, like your slow-mo cameras, right, are designed even, gosh, again, there was a video of our dog. I don't know if you can actually see it. I probably won't show you. But like literally, it's a cockapoo. So you can see her. She's coming at the camera and she's got the big ears just going.
WUSF is right here for you on NPR.
I have no idea why
Stay connected with news.
That. But the big floppy ears and just beautiful picture. And that's off of my normal standard iPhone 12. But just the floppy ears just flopping away. The paws are kind of cool, right? But I was thinking about that frame set before I even started to roll, where I would be positioned on the floor and things like that. So that's really one of the big goals here, is to think about in advance what you're trying to film. So going back to this right here, this is moving too quick. It's too dark. And back here, we could have done something with it if I had to, because literally at the end of the day, that's kind of cool. It may hurt because it's burning something. You see the smoke and stuff like that. So at the end of the day, I decided to eliminate that one as well, because it wasn't again, smoking things, you can just be, if you're taking visuals and applying them to smells and sounds, I don't know if that was actually the heat, or it's an organ part that like is, rupturing or something. I have no idea. All I know is it looks unpleasant and I can smell it. Like literally, I can almost smell the heat. Now, if that's the sense I want to evoke, that's great, but it's not in this case. I want it to be something, because this is going into a header for a video, for a website. So that being said, I told you I did take this one video here and I did this. So this is what we ended up crafting. And this is, by the way, just so you know, this needs to go away. But there's a darker area here that has copy and text in it. That's why that's there, just to let you know. Okay, now I did see smoke there, but look at this. Okay, slowed it down. I think we're at 30% speed on this. I'm looking at the precision that he uses. Plus, I really like how this glows. It's really kind of cool. Okay, and that's it. That's it right there. Just not complicated. I slowed it down. I love his intensity of this. Notice how the mask, in this case, we caught that other area where he's not breathing, like he's, a fish out of water, kind of struggling for air. What's going on back here is, it does get, I think, a little smoky, but it's not like the other one where you can just smell things burning at this point. So, I mean, I think that's pretty cool. I don't care for the way his gloves kind of look on this. But either way, still a solid kind of, understanding that it's precision. He's obviously looking at these great monitors and looking at what's going on in the surgery. So that's really what I wanted to capture in that standpoint. So the 3 rules are, again, this, right? Think about the scene in advance, the story you'd like to tell. Think about in terms of script. What do you like what you've seen and what you've captured? The third one is the 8-second rule, and that is transitioning scenes every 8 seconds or less. And you can use even speed and tempo to kind of change some of that stuff, right? So we walk through that example of client film footage, how to make it interesting. All right, book. Let me turn this off. Guys, I'm going to give you, this book is really, really good. I've had it now, read it a couple times actually. It's 248 total pages, and that includes everything in it. I'm going to give you, because I think this is important, and you'll see where I'm coming with this, especially as we go on to that next part of the notes here in terms of seeing a final video that looks really, really good, okay? So he gives 12 easy steps, right? Easy ways to make your video better now. Listen carefully, okay? Think in shots. I'm not going to read the big description, guys. Otherwise, it's going to be a really long podcast or webcast. So think about shots. Remember, if you think about, and he uses an example here like Seinfeld or other movies, you can watch, or even commercials, for example, how they go ahead and they position you in different areas with different unique kind of areas. You mentioned, as we saw from this with the runner, right? They were actually traveling with her, or the going over the wall, right? Or the sagebrush that was being brushed along in that iPhone 12 video. Okay, those things, or even just the skateboard, whatever that scene in the background was, they were moving the phone forward, right? It was creating that element of engagement coming into something, right? And movement, just interesting, novelty. So think about the shots in advance, okay? Second one, don't shoot unless you see the whites of their eyes. Look, we're about relationship people, right? So go ahead and make sure, and they give a couple really cool little scenes in here in terms of just some ideas as to what that scene looks like. You guys have all seen movies. Think about creating a movie, right? Up the ante a little bit, all right? Use B-roll footage. Use footage from The Office that you can do. Use a smiling customer representative. She picks up the phone. Slow that down using Premiere Pro. All that stuff can be very, very helpful. Show this the stock boy kind of, putting the product on the shelf, right? So that we're restocking things. So it makes it look like we're ready for business, right? Or open the door, bring them in with the sunset and all that stuff, or the sunrise and the opening of the door and all that stuff. Tell the story well, and then use that voiceover, like what we're doing here in terms of talking, in order to tell the story, right? It doesn't just have to be a web video thing. Third, keep your shots under 10 seconds. I say 8 seconds. The average attention for a goldfish is 11 seconds. And I don't know if he brings it up in this story, or that's just something that I know because I saw Jeopardy at some point. I have no idea. But I think it's like 11.2 seconds or something like that. For the average attention span of a goldfish. Don't ask me how they figure that stuff out. But the average attention span for somebody graduating from college today is like 7 seconds. Yeah. So make sure your stuff is interesting. Do you want to watch it? Okay. 4, zoom with your feet. Look, for the love of God, don't use digital zoom. It degrades the picture. That's why having multiple lenses is pretty important. Look, think about the shots in advance, move your body, get where you need to be. And the other advantage to that is when you do that, as you're filming, you go, oh, yeah, I got it. Or can we do that one more time? Very important, right? 5, stand still, stop fidgeting, and no zooming during shots. Look, don't, if you realize that you want to be closer and you're here and you need to be closer, stop the shot and get in their position and move it. But to zoom in on it, one, it degrades the quality of the image, right? But also that zooming is something it's going to be very difficult to take out later on in post-production. Because now you have to, and we have done it, but it's a pain in the butt, especially if they're moving at different speeds. Maybe they start slow and then they speed up. Yeah, that's terrible. Don't ever do that. So just move. Keep the light behind you. Why? If I had the big bright light behind me, like in this case here, I have a bright light behind me, and you can't, like that, you can't see the benefits. You can't see the E and the N. Well, that's a problem, right? It does the same thing in front of the window. By the way, natural light is always better. These newer lights are great, but natural light, if you can do that, that would be optimal. This scene right here, like this whole place is almost like windows. Okay, so it's great. So we just had to use a little bit of light. In fact, that's why you can see it. You can't see my finger here. Like this top, you can actually see the light there a little bit, kind of coming in. But that's okay. It's all good. Turn off the camera's digital effects. Seriously, get the shot that you want when you're there. Trust me, it's going to be a better product. And then you can kind of sweeten it up a little bit using some of the, what do you call them? The filters. I forget what they're called. Lens or whatever. I don't remember. Begins with an L thing. But you can change those out a little bit to add some real kind of depth to your videos. Let's see, focus on what interests you, really interests you. So again, this is you using your brain to go focus on, especially if we talk about corporate videos, what are the benefits of my product? Now, how can I convey that in an interesting way, right? The old, will it blend, right, is the one example I always use. What are they trying to sell there? We can blend freaking anything with our blenders, right? So will it blend, what is it, willitblend.com or whatever? They're golf balls and Lord knows what else going into that thing. From a viral standpoint, it worked, but it focused on the benefit. We can blend pretty much freaking anything. Okay. It was done in an interesting way. Don't use amateurish titles. We've got, let's see, in here, like even in Premiere Pro, they've got things already kind of built into it. You can download them. So animations are kind of there, which is kind of cool. And that's under the effects area. You can download them. We've downloaded some pretty neat ones at some point. This is a different Premiere profile from a partner of ours. But anyway, they'll animate in and things like that. The one that we downloaded had like a whole bunch of topics that we were going to be exploring in this specific class. So it was brought in, and these things would just they were kind of coming at you in different areas. And that was a download. Basically, the little tool allowed us to edit that and add those kind of overlays in, and really do some neat overlays with that. So made it interesting. But don't use amateurish titles. Think movie again, and now start there. Okay, you're the production officer of a movie, a cinematic presentation. Now lay out your stuff. Okay, keep your videos short, unlike the 44-minute video we have going on right now. This is informational. All right. Very important stuff. This is important. Number 11, use an external microphone. Gosh, I'm telling you guys, big, the Boya or whatever, and then, the boom mics or whatever it is. And by the way, use a good mic or an excellent mic, one of those two. And make sure it plugs in, because the fact is, and I always run two, like I may have mentioned before. I run two because maybe one goes out. Maybe the wind picks up on the one. Like in this case here with this mom, the daughter was very well behaved. Just, I love her giggles. It's awesome. So the video that we're going to do here is going to be capturing some of that really intimate coverage, which is great. But there were times where her hands were flailing and we hit the mic, right, on the thing. So I could use the boom mic, which literally was like hanging like right about here. Actually, I think it was more over here. But literally, you can't even, you can't see it in the shoot here, and there's a reason for that. But it's mounted, and it's easy. It doesn't move, and it plugs right on into the video camera, and you're good to go. So if we had to use that footage, we could have used it, and it wouldn't have cost anything because we're there anyway. Take the quality pledge, and then it basically says, look, I promise not to do sucky videos anymore. You're going to have to figure out what that looks like for you. Okay? So great book. Seriously, go do it. Even if you're not planning to do it, executives, for the love of God, please just download it, whatever the case may be. Make sure that you kind of get that book. It's a very quick read. It's not heady. It doesn't go into a lot of equipment. If anything you take away from this, the fact that you don't need a ton of really amazing equipment. You do need some basics, though. Some good lighting going on. A good mic. And again, with the video cameras, to be quite frank with you, that's pretty impressive, guys. For the iPhone 12 Max, and then seeing that promo video, which I don't know if any of it was enhanced or anything of that nature. All I can say is, if I look at this, I'd be really hard pressed to tell you the colorization difference from this scene right here to the one shot off the DSLR camera. Okay. And again, most of the stuff that we do is video online, so it's definitely not going to be able to be seen. Okay. Now, granted, some of this footage is actually going to be going in, it's 4K into a fairly large presentation room at some point, but it's all good. Last thing I want to talk about, I want to walk you through an example. Yep, okay. I want to walk you through an example of one that has done really well. So again, this is an investment advisor in Sarasota. Obviously, clients, very wealthy, things like that. But you'll notice from this video, there's a story being told, okay? Now, I'm going to keep the audio relatively low because I'm going to try and talk over it to show you what I'm seeing. But basically, he's comparing fishing with what he does and the preparation that's involved, having the right tools and those kind of things. But it's told in a very dramatic, interesting way. And you're going to see just the difference in terms of the quality, right? So here we go. You ready? I'll turn it up a little bit and I'll try and turn it down. Hear the sound of the ocean. Oh, that's so relaxing.
The first cast I ever made, my knees were shaking.
A lot of B-roll, slow. He was scared, so he's relating to his customers. Sorry for all the, oops. So he's telling us how big this fish is, right? Look at nice slow-mo there, lovely lighting. Great drone footage here. Of course, we live in Sarasota, Tampa area. It's beautiful. So again, a lot of B-roll. We're not showing him talking in a conference room here. Okay, this is all audio that's been recorded and scripted. The good news about that, guess what? They're not reading off of a card, doing this. So my business looks like this. It does this. I'm amazed. You should come vote. You should come work with us because that's really critical and important to me and the future of your family's health and wealth. Like, we're not doing that. So this is telling the story, but it's done with a whole bunch of other great visuals and a really, really powerful delivery of connectiveness to something that is probably pretty cool with their clients, by the way.
I think I'm crazy to do that. It's the excitement about fishing, knowing that you may catch a 200-pound fish in a little kayak. The fish may...
Great lighting going on here.
It's something quite special.
Just different scenes. All we've seen is boating for the last, 20 seconds, I think. Now we get into a little bit of history why you need to work with us here, right? But again, we're not seeing him in front of that board conference room talking. We're seeing an engaging, transitioning environment. Him from the back, again, welcoming us to his office. Okay.
Was in the business. He had a passion. I saw him do things differently, and that's what I wanted.
All right, a little bit of a scene here, a little hero image going on. Got the wind blowing through the hair, slow-mo. Looks like he's going to come conquer the bad dude. Again, welcoming us into the office. Slow-mo. Nice pan going on here. Really well lit. His office, as you can tell, is nice office in Sarasota. So we're showing that. The blinds are open, letting light in. Obviously, the lights on this side are, probably lights pushing this a little bit in order to do some pretty amazing things with. We got a nice casting of the shadow, by the way, off the desk. Love textures. Notice the green plant. You want contrast in this. It does contrast even the colors and things like that. This side, we have something obviously important in here because it looks like a chart or a graph. He's got his cut. He looks good. He's formal, but not too formal. Looks like he's ready to do work. He's actually working. His cuffs are proper. His tie is proper, although it's a little bit off on this. Nice close-up of this, right? Things to do. You can see that clearly. He may actually do this things to do in the morning. He may not. But he's trying to show organization. Great shot in the hand with the paper. Nice. It connects with his customer base. Again, scanning down, intense focus. Notice how the black background is blurred out. Beautifully shot there. Some nice lighting here on his face. Oh, by the way, some people, he's not too bad in terms of how this looks. If your subject is a little less than complexion oriented, you may need to think about bringing a makeup artist in, right, to be able to kind of matte some stuff down, kind of smooth some stuff out, right, that kind of thing. But again, all slow-mo here. Oh, great relationship shot. Notice how he's standing here. Okay, when we first meet them, he's shaking their hand. Look at that smile. It just does something amazing for us. You can't see any of this. Sorry, I get carried away here. You can't see any of this. Let's go back again. I don't know what you could have seen. I'm sorry. So let's play this again. Let's do this again so you get an idea as to what's going on, right? All right. So again, great sound in here with the ocean waves. We'll try and make it quicker this time, though. Great sound with the ocean waves. He's talking about fishing again, but you can see just the slow-mo going on, the lighting going on here. Really, really good. A lot of B-roll footage. Okay, so 20. This is he's telling us about fishing and how it connects with his guests. Literally, the last 5 or 6 scenes have been him in the boat. But they're transitioned very quick. Nice lighting element here, by the way. Good lighting going on here, which is very cool. Now we get into that shot where we're welcoming into the office. Notice the blurred background. He's still talking about it. But he's engaged. He's getting us. He's working with us. We're following him into that area where he's going to talk to us now. The hero shot again, hair blown, great, nice work. He's going to destroy the bad guy. Welcoming into the office again, slow mo here, probably about 20% speed. Great visual here with the plants on the desk, the lighting in the background, even the complementary color on this side. Well done, ready for business, working obviously. Got a little graph going on the computer, nice pan to the left, or the pan that's kind of going on here. We have the things to do going on. A good shot here with the hands. Again, a lot of his clients do that. They like seeing that. Good visuals on his face, the intensity and the focus in there. Nice blurred background on that. Now this is the money shot right here, right? Oh, that's like awesome sauce. This is it right here, this relationship that's going on. Now, even this, watch how this camera is moving up and in, moving up and in, moving up and in. This pan, they're slow-mo, they're obviously engaged. They're talking and he's listening. Good stuff there. Now he's sharing his wisdom and blessing them with that intellect. Great shot on the stuff, right? He's explaining it to him. Here's all this preparation that we're doing on behalf of your client. Great scene on him. Again, real close up. This is something, guys, that you're going to have to move with. This is not a traditional, I'm telling you what we do video. Okay, now day is done. He's met with the clients. This is all good. We're rocking house here. Well, we're setting the expectation of who we're working with here, right? He lives in a very beautiful area, right? So we need to convey that attitude. Beautiful shot here with the drone.
The technology is really important.
He's talking about technology. Watch as this car pulls in. The transition here, right? Watch the lighting on the truck. Yes. Again, slow-mo. He's getting out. This lifestyle mirrors his clients. They can work anywhere remotely, right? They're expecting their advisor to be the same way. So he's walking towards the house in this. He's still working. So you can go on those European vacations again once COVID passes, and you can still get stuff done. We know we are, right? We're using these tools. Again, beautiful lighting going on here. The shorter lens allows for that blurred background. Zooming in on him, zooming in on the technology, again, showing kind of just how simple this is. Notice there's no cords or anything hanging out. Now, granted, he may want to plug that in, but we're cleaning this up, right? Good stuff here. He's obviously typing something important to a client, and he's nodding. Yeah, we all want nods in our head, so he's agreement. That's beautiful. Now here, if you could hear the music, it's actually picking up, okay? And you're going to see something too with the transitions in terms of the screen, how fast it actually starts showing these things. So be mindful of that. It's going back out there. Remember, you can work anywhere, but he's telling us about preparation. He's showing us some of those things that you have to do in advance in order for us to be well prepared and well planned for. So we're hitting the benefit, right? And these are just these images speak to their prospect and their customer. Okay.
I understand.
I know nothing about fishing, absolutely nothing. But what I can tell you is, I assume that equipment is especially this one right here. It's pretty actually. I like it, especially the cork handle and stuff like that. I assume that's cork. I think it's beautiful. I assume that equipment's not cheap.
I understand what fish is likely to be out there, what depths the fish are going to be at. So you have to be prepared and you have to have a strategy.
Again, slow-mo, going out, taking us to a different scene, which is beautiful.
That is really similar to my business.
This focus, this contemplation going on. We're very mindful here.
We have to minimize any error and create an opportunity for success.
We have to minimize error. Now, remember, this is a very highly regulated industry. You can't say you're really awesome and you get it right all the time. So you need different ways of saying that, which is why scripting is really, really important. I'm going to show you that script. That's one more thing I want to be able to do before this is over. Do you hear the music? I don't think you can hear the music, especially all the dinging going on.
To know your client, know your competition. these elements come together, and that's what makes
A little more triumphant music going on.
And that's what
Speeding it up a little bit. See how it's speeding up? Different scenes going on, reminding us of where we've been. Ooh, personal family relationship. Some successes. Hitting some of those unique value points. Guys, that's how corporate video is done. I have to tell you. Really, really, really beautiful. From the video to the story. So I'm going to give you a couple tools to do that real quick. And again, my apologies for having not the video up for that. Okay, so actually, let me take you to, you saw this, right? So when I looked at the video, this was for the doctor, that one video that we just looked at a few minutes ago, not this one, but I broke down what I was seeing. Since we didn't actually do that video, I was actually breaking down what the scenes that I was seeing, right? And you can do this in advance in preparation of the video. And then you take something like this right here, and you end up laying out what we call script outline, right? So you have video and graphics and audio sounds. So basically, you kind of lay this commercial out, or the cinematic output in your on a piece of paper, and you kind of lay that out. What's going on? What scenes need to take place? Tight shot of doctor looking into the camera, then moving in slow. These are the kind of things that you can help see what's going on, and then you can basically check off the benefits, right? So if you know what the unique value proposition of your product or service are, you can now hit those with specific visuals and make them powerful. So that's what I have for that. We are at 12:01. Of course, I burned a couple minutes there, and we'll take that. We'll just learn from it, hopefully. But I hope that was helpful. So script notes like this are really great. You know, links to B-roll footage, so you can actually go back and look at it. You got little notes in here. If you feel free. If you want to email me, I can send you this little layout, whatever, just so you have an idea as to what's going on. If there's any information on screen that you want to be able to do, but this is what we end up doing when we're laying out, the benefits and things like that. You can then use this as a way of explaining to C-level, if you're doing the production side of it. Do we capture everything? Is this what we're talking about, right? And again, you may want to put another column in here that says benefit, just so you make sure that you get those 2 or 3 benefits in a visual that are impactful. Another thing you can talk about, or another source of help, by the way, so you have your visuals. We talked about the audio. We talked about getting B-roll, like for example, the video we just saw with the Wealth Advisor, all of that was basically B-roll going on with a voiceover from Jeff, which is great. But the other thing to think about is the music also had an impact, right? Scene selection, zooming in, all that had an impact. But you can use YouTube Studio, and you can actually download audio files. So you can, and it's amazing, you play your little Foley expert, right? So you can download full music files that are attribution free using YouTube Studio. So if you don't know how to do that, you can ping me. I can show you how to do that. But those audio files are there for you, and music, and they categorize it really nicely in terms of the type and style of music, cadence, and things like that. That are helpful. I'm going to turn that off there. So feel free to use, again, YouTube Studio for that other music. I appreciate you guys joining me. Look, there's a lot of moving components to this, and you need to make sure it's done right. The big one is, I forget where his quote is here. Hang on. He starts out, so Mr. Steve Stockman starts out in this, and he basically makes that statement: the opposite of good is off. So do good videos, read the book. I don't care if you're doing the production or you're the executive, so you understand what the teams are going for. It's going to help you set your expectations for the team better that's doing the video, whether that's an internal team or whether that's external. Understand some of the basic principles that you're trying to address. So that's absolutely critical. But if you have problems in this, and a lot of times, again, what we see is we have the production people. Let's go back to that again. We have our, our production people who basically love tech, right? They love tech. They do it really well. They're awesome at their job in terms of audio and things like that. But then you also have the executives who, honestly, again, hearts in the right place, are a wealth of information as well, superb at their job. But again, there's this missing gap in so many cases. I've given you a couple tools in here, guys, to go ahead and think about some of those things that allow you to be successful, allow the output of your videos to be like 1 billion times better. Okay. If you need help with that, maybe it's just one specific product, product video or something, or a corporate, we call them 360 videos, this big 360 casting vision of the company kind of stuff going on that describes the who, what, when, where, why, and how. If you need help with that, feel free to reach out to us. Love to be able to do it. If you have video that you've already shot, as you can see with some of it, we can give you some ideas to maybe how to craft those videos in a much more interesting way. If you need help outlining scripts and those kind of things, or understanding even what your unique value proposition is, or competitive analysis and positioning yourself. All those things are questions you might have, which a consultancy like ours could help you out with. So I hope that helps give you an idea as to how to do better video, especially corporate videos, and make them just better, right? Something more interesting. So again, thanks for joining me this morning. Sorry we're over time. Appreciate it. Have a great rest of your day.